Hi, my name is Eddie Fernandez. Let me begin by saying that in almost 6 decades of life, I would never have believed that a teaching such as this one would one day be needed. How did we arrive at the junction in history, especially in our so-called developed and illuminated Western nations, wherein we would need to explain to human beings what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman? Tragically, more and more people are confused, deceived, or lost when it comes to understanding issues related to gender and sexuality. My goal with this teaching is not to lambast the LGBTQI+ movement, nor the growing number of people embracing this new culture of sexual diversity in the name of mutual love, tolerance, and inclusivity, but rather to help sincere people find hope, help, and healing when it comes to this all-important issue of human sexuality. I am the father of 3 girls. Our daughters have blessed us with 7 grandchildren. When those grandkids were being formed in their mother's wombs, we all wanted to know if they were male or female, boys or girls. The natural determination of their sexual identity would depend on an XY set determination system used to classify all mammals. In this scientific and biological system, the sex of human beings is unequivocally determined by a pair of sex chromosomes. If those developing babies were females, they would have 2 of the same type of sex chromosomes, XX, called the homogametic sex. If they were males, they would have 2 different types of sex chromosomes, XY, called the heterogametic sex. In other words, the presence of a Y chromosome is responsible for an unborn baby developing into a male individual, and the absence of a Y chromosome results in the birth of a female individual. There are exceptions, however, they are extremely rare. The overwhelming majority of all babies born are either male or female and endowed with either male or female genitalia. When every one of our 7 grandkids arrived after 9 months of gestation, we rejoiced that they were either male or female. They did not arrive with any other sex or gender. We currently have 4 boys and 3 girls in our little clan of grandkids. The boys are easily identified by their male genitalia, physical and emotional structures, while the girls are distinguished by their female genitalia, physical and emotional structures. Nobody is confused as to the identity of our boys and our girls. One day, when they grow up, the dream of their parents and of their grandparents is that they will find partners of the opposite sex to marry, and that together they will reproduce and have children, even as we reproduced and had children. Thus, our legacy and our descendants is passed on from generation to generation. As they become sexually conscious and active later in life, they will get to use their sexual organs. Sexual intercourse in human beings serves many different purposes, from pleasure, stress reduction, intimate communication and formation of our identity, to our intimate bonding and procreation. One of the goals of having sex is fulfillment within the context of intimate, caring, and loving relationships, thereby transforming what could be limited to a pleasurable and merely mechanical event into an expression of loving intimacy as 2 people are involved emotionally, relationally, socially, physically, and spiritually. The main goal, however, as with all other animals, is procreation. The multiplication of the species is the main purpose for sex. That's why men release male gametes called sperm or spermatozoa, which are haploid cells formed through spermatogenesis, and women release female gametes called ova or egg cells, which are haploid cells carrying 1 copy of each chromosome. Male and female gametes are necessary for the DNA to be passed from one organism down to the next in the next generation. As with my male grandkids, I am a man. I was identified by my genetic code, XY chromosomes, and male genitalia and physical structure. From the moment of my conception, I emerged from my mother's womb into this world as a man. I lived and I will die as a man. 100 years after my death, if my bones are uncovered, the DNA test that will be carried out, scientists will know that those were the bones of a human male. There will be no other sex or gender variation to distinguish me by my DNA. My wife, on the other hand, is a woman. This too was determined for her before she emerged from her mother's womb, due to her XX chromosomes, female genitalia, and physical structure. The assumptions people make today, stating that we are of differences determined by our sex, gender, or gender identity, are simply untrue. Many argue that sex is simply a label, male or female, and that we are assigned these by a doctor at birth, based on genitalia and the chromosomes we have. They go on to defend that gender is far more complex, being tied to social and legal status, a set of expectations from society, and it's about behaviors, characteristics, and thoughts. They argue gender is more than genetic and body parts, and more about how people are expected to act because of their sex. The logic that's being disseminated today among many, even in academia, is that gender identity is related to how people feel inside and how they may or may not express that identity through clothing, behavior, and personal appearance. In other words, what is wrongly being purported and now widely embraced by so many in the West is that men can be women, women can be men, people can have sex with whomever they choose and whenever they choose. Plus, they can do a host of other things related to sexuality, such as going to the length of changing their natural sex, thanks to modern medical interventions and the development of things like hormone blockers, for example. The rationale is we can be whatever we want to be and we can do whatever we want to do. As is evident and logical from time immemorial, and as is evident from other cultures the world over, this is simply untrue. No parent or doctor assigned our sex or our gender at birth. Nature did, or as we believe, God did, at the moment of conception, when one sperm penetrated that one egg and began to form new life. We are conceived as either male or female. Sex, gender, and identity are intricately linked. We come into the world as men or as women, and long after we die, we will be identified by our remains as having been either male or female. Even transgender individuals who have medically altered their bodies thanks to modern science will not be identified as transgender by their DNA or genetics, either in this life or long after their death. A man will always be a man, and a woman will always be a woman, period. Instead of trying to change our nature, we should celebrate our male and female identities, realizing both are tremendous gifts and both reflect a unique beauty, purpose, order, and design that the other does not possess. We are equal, yet different. In closing, though science and biology clearly show us that we are either made male or female, and that we possess XX or XY chromosomes, not a host of other gender variations with labels such as B, G, T, Q, I, etc., the Bible has made this clear from the beginning. We read in Genesis 1:27 and 28, "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. Then God blessed them, and God said, 'Be fruitful and multiply.'" Every attack against this eternal, timeless, and immutable truth is simply a means for humans to A, rid themselves of God's created order and perfect design. And after they have rid themselves of the male and female order, comes B, to rid themselves of God himself. Instead of teaching our kids to change their natural, obvious, and innate sexual identities, why not create a culture wherein we teach them what their identity truly is and how they can celebrate, develop, and blossom into their full potential as a man or as a woman. Just a thought. God bless and save us from this growing madness. If you like this short video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching.